Hi everybody, Peter Driver here in Piscarifly. I hope everybody's keeping well. Welcome back to another Saturday night, a very frosty Saturday night indeed. Right bit of good healthy weather out there at the moment. But I hope everyone's keeping well and hope everyone had a good week. How you doing to David Hannaford there? Garrett Core is on there. There's a bit of a chat going on there about Dave. Dave Donovan's on there as well. Colin O'Gara, good to have you on with us, Colin. Declan Noonan, James Kavanagh, how you doing, James? Garrett Core, David Hannaford, Brian Kennedy, Graham Lonigan, Declan Noonan, how you doing, Patrick Burke? Nigel Haynes is on from South Wales as well. How you doing, Nigel? Mark Joyce, Sean is on there, Jared Lenihan, Thomas O'Sullivan, Brian Canty, Ricky Croak is on there as well. How you doing, Ricky? Hope you're keeping well. And Aidan Gill, good to have you on with us there, and Ken Tuberty. Ken Tubby done. Hope everybody's keeping well. Got an interesting night. Y'all know Dave is back anyway. Dylan Roberts is on there from the Welsh D. Good man, Jerry Hogarty, how you doing? After last week's question, we drafted Dave back in for you lads. What a question last week. Good old crack. We're not finished on that question yet. I'm going to how you doing, John T. Mars on there as well. It was Jared Coughlin. It was good old crack. Dave O'Bahana, good to have you on there. Michael Callaghan as well. Anthony Bolton, how you doing, Anthony? But yeah, we're going to talk a little bit about last week's question in a moment as well. Got a good old show lined up for you tonight, folks. We got some lovely patterns coming. I love tying these patterns. They can be a bit painful at times, but they can be good as well. They're beautiful flies to tie. Split wings. Okay, so we got three different. How you doing, Giuseppe? Gary Hogarty there. Good man, Gary. Yeah, it's a great book, and I've been reading it all week. I've read it a couple of times, but after last week, James McCarthy, how you doing? After last week, I sat and read it again. It's a great reference book. If anyone doesn't know it, it is the Evolution. It's called CDC Evolution. Okay, that's the book there. I'm not sure if you can see it properly or not, but CDC Evolution, really good book, a fantastic reference book. It should be in every fly tier's desk. So anyway, following on from that, I got asked a lot about wings and split wings, and I said, look, we'll do a show on it tonight, some different split wings. So we're going to do wing slips. As you can see, there's a wing slip here in the voice already, one of these little wing slips, and we're going to do, how you doing, Darius Simkus, Eugene Fagan's on there as well. Good to have you on with it there. Have you on with us, boys? Hope you're not too cold out in Wales, Darius. But we're going to do a CDC split wing. We're going to do this split wing fly, and we're going to do hackle tips. Okay, three different types of split wings. Absolutely, Ricky. So we'll get to those in a few moments. We're going to talk about that fly that was the question last week. I want to tie that fly for you as well. How you doing, Liam Long? Hope you're keeping well. Kieran Riley's on there as well. Liam Oates, hope you're all keeping well. Kieran, hope you're enjoying the Grayling Festival. So the Hannock Grayling Festival. Mark is going to be along in a little while. Just before I came on live, I had a bit of a, how you doing, Charlie Nesbitt? Kenneth Rawley's on there as well. It is a bit Kenneth, but it is worth it. It's a very good book. It's a book I go to a lot. How you doing, Eamon Gavin? Mark is going to be along a little while. I had a chat with Mark just there a few moments before I came on live. How you doing, Kevin Marr? But I had a chat with Mark to see how they're getting on in the Welsh D. Of course, the Hannock Grayling Championship is on at the moment. Very cold. Conditions have produced some fantastic fishing, as the Welsh D always does produce fantastic fishing, but exceptional fishing this year. So we'll catch up with Mark in a little while there. He's been on the club, or Piscari Club every... He's been on the Piscari Club every night since Thursday night, Friday night and tonight, talking and filling in everyone on how the what you call is going, the competition and their practice and stuff is going. So anyone that's in the club, they would have seen that along. But Mark, we did another one tonight there. Club members would have seen it, but I'm going to put it up here just to give you an idea of how things are going for them there. Hi, back. Dave is back. Of course, we got a nice prize there for Dave. We got some of our new, actually. We got Dry X powder, so we know we have our Dry X gel or Dry X spray and stuff on the go. Well, now we've actually got our own Dry X powder, which is absolutely fantastic stuff. Brilliant stuff for your treating your dries. And we have our Dry X gel. Okay, a really cool gel. It's not a runny gel, it's quite a thicker kind of gel. It sits on the back of the hand lovely, just the way I like it, just like Dry Magic. So they're just being released onto the market now at the moment. They're not even up on the website, I don't think. They'll be up on the website by tomorrow. But we have those in stock now. Hey Jim Merlande and Niall Crombie, good to have you on with us there, guys. Jim from all the way from Canada. But they're the prizes for tonight, folks. Going to send you out the very first samples of those. And hi to all our YouTubers, of course, as well. Graham Reggie Reynolds is on there with us, and John Johnston, good to have you on there, Patrick Flynn and Tony Parker. Okay, so look, we're going to get started. So last week I asked the question, who tied the first ever AK-47? Okay, it's a dry fly. It was tied back in the 80s, and I asked for the name. How you doing, Martin O'Rourke? It was tied back in the 80s by a man named Roberto Messori. Roberto Messori tied it. Any reference, it's page 138 in the book. And it's basically a development from the F-Sedge. So you remember the F-Sedge Frantics, the Slovenian guy, he's done the F-Sedge, and Roberto Messori, he took it on and came up with the AK-47. The AK stands for Atalia Killer. That's the name. That's where it gets the AK-47. Okay, and I said I'll tie it for you tonight. How you doing, Adrian Codd? Adrian Codd's on with us there as well. Good to have you on with us. So I said I'll tie it for you tonight, and to start us off and warm us up here a little bit. Frosty old nights out these days, folks. Frosty old nights. It's I might venture down the coast during the week for a cast, maybe a beach caster, and see if there's a few cod about. Perfect weather for it. So I'm going to put in a size 14 301 to Hackle hook here. Don't forget, folks, if you share the stream, hit that share button on the stream. Appreciate it to get a few people on, and you will be in to win all this week's flies, and these are going to be, they're beautiful flies, plus the tub of little flies I've already tied from practice there. There's a nice little collection already there for you. Thanks, Thomas. Yeah, it was a good video. So what we're going to start off here is a bit of grey thread. Now I think the original tie-in, the thread is a bit darker than this. This is a hen's twist grey thread. So I think the original tie-in is a little bit darker, but it'll do for purposes of what we want to achieve. To quickly tie this fly and show you what it's about. It is a long shank hook, the original tie-in, and when you do get the, I just have to adjust my thread bobbin here because it's a bit loose on that. When you do get the book, if anybody gets it, I might even photograph them couple of pages actually, maybe, and put them up for you. It's a great fly. I've fished this many's a time and had lots of good success with it. Don't mind me now for a second, folks. And it snapped off me there. It's okay, I can go back and start again because I just had to adjust the thread bobbin there a little bit. So we'll attach on her. Yes, John. That's cold, alright. That's cold, alright, Graham. Minus 13 there. I know in Wales the boys they're freezing. The nets were freezing up there during the week and stuff as well. So we're going to add a little bit of a tail in this first. So it's a bit of brown hackle for a tail. Not the most attractive looking dry flies, but surely is effective. Bit of a tail in there, around the length of the body, and bring the thread back up along, securing it in well. How you doing, Jared Murta? David Lee, how you doing? Good man, thanks Dave for sharing, appreciate it. So anybody that shares the stream is always in for a chance to win tonight's flies. Appreciate it because it gets a few people on as well that might be looking out for it and mightn't be the techie, just like myself. What I got here now is a little bit of natural CDC, and we're going to add that in here now. If I can find my hacker pliers. There it is. I'm going to expose the tip here a little bit. And just tie it in there. Don't tie it up too near the eye. Keep it back a little bit. Jeez, right, it is cold, alright. Graham was fishing last week and he couldn't do. So what we're going to just going to hackle that around that. And you can see how far back I've kept it from the you can see how far back I've kept it from the eider. Sorry. I'm trying to talk and concentrate at the same time. Get your thread around it and secure it in place. And take away waste. That's CDC. And you're left with that hackle back a bit, okay? Hi Mark Rainey, hope you're keeping well. Now what we're going to do is going to catch all those and pull them directly up. And we're going to figure of 8 around underneath it to make sure that wing is sticking straight up. There's going to be a few barbs off the CDC sticking out a bit in various unwanted places. That's okay. They're supposed to be left there. Just 1 or 2 underneath I'll get rid of. Now what we're going to do now is we are going to tie in a bit of a brown hackle. How you doing, Glenn Campbell? Brown hackle. Tie that in there to butt. Without trapping too many of those CDC too much of your wing. Just wind up the thread up the body. Skip over and get it up there near the head. See, this fly is not. So our hackling here, they recommend to do it within 3 to 4 turns. Okay, hackle up the body within 3 to 4 turns. Stairs down. We'll try and get it up there within 3 to 4 turns. There is, and it's caught in around the thread. There is 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, 3.5, I'd say. Cut away your waist. Once you secure the hackle in. Whip finish. How you doing, Neil Hamilton? Hope you're keeping well. Whip finish. And that there is the AK-47. That's the fly that caused us all so much controversy last week. It was good crack, I enjoyed it. I really enjoyed last week. I know Dave's got a great question for you tonight now. You thought last week was bad, folks. I tell you one thing, best luck to you all tonight. Best luck to you all tonight. But that's the AK-47. And that's exactly how it should be tied when you look at the pictures in the book. That's exactly how rough it is. It is a cracking fly. I've fished it quite a few times. And very, 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 very effective fly to fish. So hope you all enjoyed that one. And that puts an end to the AK-47 question. But that's it. That's the way it's supposed to look, believe it or not. But if you haven't picked up that book, try pick up a copy. If you haven't got a copy, if you can get a end of it somewhere, it is worth a read. It's quite a big book. There's a lot of content and a lot of great information about CDC, the history of CDC. There's some amazing patterns in it, and you know, I like that kind of style of fly there. See that's an absolute cracking fly. Just fishes a bomb. You know, for me, so it's really, really one, and it's so simple, like, you know, and some of the stuff we told you last week, absolutely John Johnson, yeah. How you doing? Angela Welsh is on there as well. See Angela watching there. Stuart is on there as well. Stuart Wiley, hope you're keeping well, Stuart, and getting some good pike fishing. Is this good pike weather, Stuart? Yeah, it's a cracking fly. I love fishing those kind of things. You know, the flies we tied last week were so simplistic. Absolutely, Kevin. It was so simplistic, and it's yeah, I love that kind of style of tying. And we're going to go to nearly quite the opposite tonight. We're going to go into split wings and bodies and hackles and all sorts of things, which are very good too, you know. But I do love, and I've tied a lot of flies out of that book, and I tell you, there's none of them let me down. But there's your AK-47 anyway, folks. I hope you've enjoyed that one there. And that's going into the box. Someone else is going to get to fish that next season, whoever shares the stream, and they'll get to fish that next season. So I'm going to put away that book now for a while. Say Dave will be along with a question there now soon in a while. It is certainly, it's one of, definitely, Graham, it's one of them. So what we're going to do here now is an olive CDC, okay, split wing CDC. This is the one I was asked for. So it's called CDC Evolution, John. CDC Evolution is the name of that book, okay? So this is a little olive CDC, fantastic little fly. I'm going to tie it on a 14 though. They can be tied quite down. All tonight's flies, I'm going to tie it on a 14, just so it makes it easier for the viewing. Have I got it? Have you got any ideas how to make your flies look better? Thanks a billion. Thanks for that, Michael. Michael says you can buy a digital copy of the book on Google Books if you can source a Captain Jack Sparrow. Can I make your flies look any better? I don't think it's not up to. You know, for me, it's always the trout that are kind of the critics. You know what I mean? You can certainly tie beautiful flies. It doesn't mean they're going to catch fish. You know, I like that rustic tying of exactly like that last fly. I think they're really fishy flies, and they get me a lot of fish. You know, so I think let the trout be your critics. You know. Well, that's it, O'Neill. Let's buy the flies off someone that ties. Let me just think about the thread for this one here now for a second, folks. There's a bit of tying in this one, and I'm going to go with a olive tying thread for this. I have it here somewhere. So we got our 301 size 14 here in the vise, and we are going to start by putting a bit of olive. This is classic waxed thread on there. And we're going to bring it down. We're going to add in our tailing material first. So it's kind of a Spanish style. Wouldn't say it is a Spanish split wing. I certainly wouldn't do them the injustice of saying I'm trying to copy it, but it's one I've been tying for a good few years, and I find it great. So I got a little bit of cocktail on here, and we're going to add that in as a tail again. The length of the body. That's kind of my rule of thumb. Just secure that in, and give it one turn underneath, and then back on top again, and that'll just make sure that tail stays nice and straight and doesn't fall down on us. Okay, absolutely, yeah. Adrian Cod, sometimes the rougher the better. I've seen flies that have won competitions and you'd be looking at them and going, my God almighty, how did that? And you know, that's it, like, you know. Oh, Dave is really teasing us now, guys. He's going to do the question early tonight because it could take a while for the correct answer. A lot of Googling going to happen again tonight. Okay, so for a rib here, I'm putting in some Danville's waxed Flymaster Plus thread. Okay, this is my ribbon material, and it's a real bright yellow, as you can see. Okay, this is the material we're using for our rib. You fire away whenever you want, Dave. Mark is going to be on in a little while there now, folks, as well, and he is going to be talking about the Grayling Festival, how they got on day one. Of course, anyone that's in Piscari Club got to see the last two episodes as well, which he did on Thursday night and Friday night, and he'll be back on the club tomorrow night giving us a rundown of how we finished. For the body here, I got a little bit of Purcell silk. Okay, a little bit of Purcell silk. Sorry. A little bit of Purcell silk, and I've just broken it down. As you can see, it comes in several, when you break it down, it comes in several strands. So I just took out a couple of strands so my body doesn't get too bulky, and I'm using 3 little strands of Purcell silk. Not easy stuff to get your hands on anymore. It's kind of a green. Hold down from the back in place, and just bring that thread down to where I finished up the tail, where the tail met the hook, should I say, and bring my thread up. Again, leaving a nice bit of comfort before the eye of the hook. Coming back down just to make sure my underbody is as neat as I can get it. Dave is on there now, folks. Why does the heron stand on one leg when he's stalking his prey? There's a question for you now. Steve Brennan, Stephen, you know what? You can. Oh, jeekish, let me see. Give me a sec. I'll tell you what, when Mark is on, I'm going to have 14 minutes. Mark's going to be talking 14 minutes. And Stephen, there is a kind of a floss I used as a bit of a substitute at times. I'm just going to take this and wind up. I'll find it in one of my boxes once Mark comes on to do his yoke. He'll give me a few minutes, save me rooting here on the live. So I'm just winding it up the body. As you can see, the silk goes lovely and flat, and has a lovely shimmer to it. So this is quite a large, it's a size 14. Like, if I was really tying this as a fishing fly for the rivers, I'd be on 16s and 18s. But I said, plenty of answers coming in there in Dave's question now. Colin O'Gara. He's got tippet protection, Brian Kennedy, to reduce heat loss and aid in remaining on and remain to prevent. That's the body heat. So I'm just spinning this Danville's, and what I'm going to do is put a little bit of wax on that as well, a bit of clear wax, because it just stops it from slipping off the shiny silk body. A little bit of wax on it, and it kind of helps it stay together too. So spin it first and give it a little spin afterwards, just to make sure, because I can see it flatten out a bit there as I waxed it. I don't want it too broad. And then I'll take that up the body as a rib. And secured in. Joseph Ronan reckons he's waiting on a hip replacement. So once I've got that tied in, what I'll do then is I'll get this part of my whip finisher, and I'll just give that a little rub. What it does is just kind of polishes off that wax a little bit, and any remaining wax that might be loose, or it'll just get rid of it, but it puts a lovely kind of flat sheen on the fly, and it kind of makes that body just kind of marry in a bit together, and it just adds a lovely finish to that. I'm sure the camera's picking it up quite as well as I'm seeing it here. So what we're going to do now is we're going to put in a little bit of, so we're going to split the wing with some Glow Bright. Okay, use Glow Bright number 4, number 5. For me, I like the Glow Bright number 1, which is pink. Okay, I'm going to split the wings with pink, and it gives me a sighter. So I'm going to double this up. I'm not getting to watch all the answers now, so I'll leave it up to Dave there, and I'll come back on it later on maybe. And it's taking away that little bit of waste. Now what I've got here is some natural CDC, and basically what I've done, I've lined up all the tips to about 4 feathers, as you can see, 4 to 5 feathers there, small ones. Dave is saying there's still no correct answer. Right, so keep going folks, keep going. A lot of people saying about conserving heat. I'm not sure if that's the answer Dave is looking for. But 4 or 5 CDC feathers all lined up there, the natural tips, and we're going to tie them in. We're going to tie them in over the front of the hook like so. Just getting them lined up. 1, 2 turns is fine. No, it's not, I'm not happy with that. I need to be back a little turn more. There we go. 1, 2 turns is fine. And what I want you to do then is pull up your waist piece at the back and get a turn under your holding. So it's almost like creating a post for a clink hammer, if you can see what I'm doing. Okay, and it brings the 2 bunches together. It brings the natural ends, the natural tips together, and it brings the, so you got them sticking up like so. Okay, and it just bunches them together. Okay, where we made that first initial turn, and brings them in together. Now next thing is we're going to have to put a bit of dubbing in there. Okay, so I got a little bit of kind of spiky squirrel here, small little bit of spiky squirrel, piscarifly spiky squirrel dubbing, and we spent the last 2 evenings down in the shop there sorting out the dubbing corner, and one of the most painful jobs I think I've ever had to do, pulling all that dubbing off the boards and putting it all back on. So just a small little bit, less is more here. We don't need a whole lot. Make sure that pink stays up on top, and just get some turns in around that CDC, and bring your thread out the front. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to split them. So my waist ends, I'm going to have 2 waist ends, for the want of a better description, 2 butt ends out either side, and get my pink CDC up through there, and then I'm going to evenly, as best I can, split the natural tips going forward like so. So once I have them split, I'm pinching the whole thing there together with my left hand pinch and pull down and get a tie on in the front. Then give that a bit of a tug to make sure your globe right is nice and tight. And another couple of turns there just to make sure it's well secure, okay? What I want you to do then is pull that back up through its path, hold the whole thing back, and give another couple of turns up there the head. So now your pink material is in the middle of the CDC. Pull that forward for a second. What we're going to do is shape our wing now. So we'll catch those kind of butt ends. Catch those all together. And what you're going to do is make a vertical cut here. So just straight off the body. You're leaving a couple of mil up off of the waist feather up. You're not cutting right to the butt, but just above it. But you want a vertical cut like so. A vertical cut like so. And there's just one bit that needs to be trimmed off there as well. But you're still leaving some of those waist bits there. And take another little pinch of that double. Lots of guesses still coming in there. I don't know because I'm trying to concentrate on tying the fly here. For you is another tiny little pinch of that double. Slide it up there. And you're going to tie that in there at the head. Actually what I should have done was take a tiny piece off of that. And while I'm tying it in at the head, I can whip finish at the same time. It just keeps everything in a nice place and leaves a nice finish to the head of the fly. There we go. Take up your post now and trim it just below. Slide down along, don't cut any of the CDC. Trim it in there. Then give it a little bit of a ruffle up. And then that kind of makes it stick out a bit so you can actually, it's visible. And there we go. Very simple little split wing CDC olive. Lovely little fly, super fish catcher. As you can see then, you can see your pink post up the middle. Still plenty of guesses going on there. You can see your nice pink post up the middle there, and gives you a real good visual of the you know, when you're fishing that you can see that as well, and the fish ain't going to see it. There's the frontal look of it. That's our front. It's just twisting in the grips a little bit, but you can see the front of it there. That little post sticking up. Simple little fly tie, and thanks Giuseppe. Simple little fly tie, floats super well because you can see that little bark of CDC there at the butt of the wing. Floats really well, but it's a savage fly. Really super effective. Definitely one to have. Thanks Dennis. Dennis is on there. He said colours and size ideal for mayfly and con. Tess Mylan's on there. How you doing, Tess? Tess is the secretary of Thanks Setting Stanley's on there with us as well. Hope you're keeping well. Setting Mark Driver's on there. Hope you are keeping well. Thanks Setting. Still plenty of guessing going on in that, but thanks Dennis. Simple little fly, folks. There's one I would have done earlier. I think the wing turned out a little bit better on that one. But they're gone into the tub there now. Wrong tub. They're gone into that tub for this week's winners of anyone to share the stream. So while you're all still, thanks Michael. While you're all still guessing, I think Dave still is waiting for a particular answer, lads and ladies. Thanks Michael. While you're all still there waiting, we're going to jump over to Wales for 14 minutes actually. Got Mark to give me a ring there. Said he's been on the club there for the last couple of days, giving updates into how the competition's going and how the Welsh D's fishing, and I said I'll stick up this one because they've just finished 2 sessions. They had a good start, a bit of a setback in the afternoon. I'll let Mark fill his in on that one, but Mark's I'm going to find that piece of material that I use sometimes as a substitute to Purcell Silk, and I'll let you know what that is once I get it. But here's Mark giving us a bit of fill in on how his team, the Irish Slayers, are getting on in Wales. Enjoy this, and I'll see you back here in a few minutes. We've got 2 cracking flies coming up, so stay tuned, and of course we might actually get an answer to Dave's question somewhere along the way. Okay, see you all in a minute.
Yeah, how did the morning session go, Mark?
We 20 fish this morning. The AM results just came through there, so we ended up with 3 place points. I think the guys that 2 place points at 22, and the guys that won the session or our group session 27. John Tysack's team. John Tysack, yeah. So
Fish on, I think is their team.
Oh, excuse me. Yeah, no, Fish on is their name. Yeah, they've drawn A1 tomorrow, so like they should have a good crack at it anyway. There was some serious fish coming off there.
How many fish taken off A1 today?
There was 30 fish in the morning. Transylvanian nymphs or something like that. I think it's one of the Romanian teams. There's 2 of them. They had 30 fish, and then there was 51 taken off in the afternoon. So
holy moly!
Yeah, some serious numbers. So
A1 is I was lucky enough to fish A1 a good few years ago with Dave. We drew it and we had 44, but like the potential on A1, there's definitely always potential of a 50 coming off it. And same tomorrow morning, John Tysack and them boys, they're good anglers. They'll get you're going to have to be on top of your game tomorrow to rattle them, like, you know.
Yeah, well, look, it's A1 went a bit sour last year, like, so like we went into A4 last year.
Tomorrow.
Oh
A1
yeah. Like it went sour last year. Like there was very little numbers come off. I think there was only 13 or 14 come off it last year after in the 3rd session. And session 1 there was good numbers. Session 1 and session 2 there was good numbers, and then session 3 there was very little because me and Darius went into A5 or A4, I think, a few beats below, and we ended winning the session with 17 fish, like, so, and no one even was. I think the nearest to us was A1, like, so.
Yeah.
But look, levels are different, conditions are different, but the fish could go sour, and you know,
easy. Like, so. They can release cold water out of the dam, and that'll change everything, like, you know.
Yeah.
How'd you get on in the afternoon?
Afternoon with 4. We tough enough beat where we were around the lower seas. Anything from kind of C5, C6 down is tough beats. Like there, a lot more bedrock, slate rock, and stuff like that.
Grayling don't like the bedrock.
Yeah, we ran into a bit of a problem in the morning. Our controller never showed up, so one of the organising controllers had to come along and control us for maybe an hour and 15 or an hour and a half, and then they gave us some other controller. Was there for maybe half an hour, and I landed 2 or 3 fish with him. And then finally our Italian controller showed up.
Where was he?
He was walking 3 kilometers of road trying to get to the beach. So I was like, why'd your team not drop you? But anyway, he said he couldn't find it or something. Anyway, some mix up anyway. But because of that, we had to start 10 minutes late. Because you always your team, it's 3-man team, so one of your team members always controls the team below you. Yeah. But because we were on the bottom of the sector, we were on B11. I had to drop our team member Darius up to B1, so we had to drive there, collect Darius, and then drive down to the sector C groups. And because of that, then when the lads got set up with the car, and we had an awful walk through woods to get to the other. It was nearly 10, 12, 15-minute walk to get to the beat, and the boys didn't have much time to even walk the beat and see how much water they had, and they had literally 3 big massive fields of water. They stayed up in the first field, and they didn't even realise how much water else they had below them. So and the second controller was late then as well, like, so so it had a bit of a knock-on effect today, so unfortunately. So
yeah, throw you off your game a little bit, but look, you did well. Like 20 was a great result in the morning. You know, 20 fish, 20 grayling in the session is always good.
Yeah, and it was great crack. Like, you know, we fished 40. Me and Roger walked the beat twice because we had time. Obviously, our controller was late, and we looked at the bottom. We said it was nice, but when we got up to the middle section, had 2 nice runs, but it was more fishable from the far side, and we just knew that we would have burned ourselves out from wading across the heavy water to get to the nice eddies on the other side. Especially if we got in on the shoal of fish or something like that. We could have put ourselves through it, but we probably would have burned ourselves out more and not been focused. So plus we might waste time trying to fish it, and next thing was too deep, and then having to make changes like that. So
Yeah.
we fished the top of the beat for 40 minutes and got nothing. So that was our plan: fish for 45 minutes. If not, move down to the bottom of the beat. Within, I'd say, 5 minutes of being down at the bottom of the beat, we were straight into fish. I got one, and just as I landed it and measured it, I was going back out, and Roger had one on the bung, and it just came off as he was trying to net it. And I got back in then and happened to get a shoal behind me and in around me and stuff like that. And we got the fish going, and it was great fishing, like so it was. Missed a few fish, missed a few takes and stuff like that, but I think Roger dropped one, I dropped one. But that was it. Roger dropped one the bung, and I dropped one nymphs, and I dropped one nymphs. But we should have ended up with, we met 24 fish that we had a chance of landing, and we landed 20. Like, but 3 of them we had.
Always want to drop a couple.
Oh yeah, well, the margin of error was low, like, so it wasn't. We've had other sessions where we've had a lot more fish on and lost and stuff. So I was saying to Roger leaving, going out the gate, going to collect Darius, that we only really dropped 3 fish. We missed one other, and that was it. Like, so the margin of error was low, and that's always key in the competition, to try to keep that margin of error as low as possible. Like, so.
Yeah.
And well, that's what
where I always say. You know your draw for tomorrow?
Yes, we're on A8. I know Rob Redmond and Kieran Riley were on A9 this morning. They had a tough session. I think they blanked, but they seen there was 12. I think the guys above them on A8 had 12. I'm not sure what was taken off in the evening just yet, but I'll work that out when the evening results come out. So we'll see what happens. But look, I don't mind going into a beat where there's low numbers, because
no, there's 12 fish there.
I don't going to make something happen. So yeah.
There's very little unless you're on the bedrock beats. There's very little of Welsh that doesn't have fish.
There's fish everywhere. It's just a matter of agitating them or getting to kick on and such, like, and get them to come on board, like, so. You can turn a bad beat into a good beat very quick, like we did last year. Me and Darius in the last session, we had 17 fish in the last session, and the beat, I think there was Franta Hannick was on that beat on the Saturday morning, and I think they had only 11, and there was only something like 4 taken off in Saturday evening session, and we went in and took 17 off it, and probably should have been close to 30 that session, like, for what fish we dropped and broken and stuff like that. But so you can turn a bad beat into a good beat very quickly by approaching it differently, like, so.
Yeah, Sundays are always different in the Welsh D. They're woke up a bit now, and you could do well on it, like, keep the head up anyway. Like, come here, did you fish the Venator today? Piscari Venator?
We did. It was me and Roger fished it. Absolutely amazing. Whenever we were doing practice, it was like another complete different animal today. It was just it just stood out so much. It was just, it done everything it needed to do. It was a go-to rod from the get-go. I think myself and Roger were fishing it for the first 40 minutes. Obviously, we were more focused on the fish and stuff like that. But when we started meeting the fish at the bottom of our beat, we were getting fish, and I was really starting to enjoy it. Especially when we were getting going, and we knew we were getting good numbers with the time we had left on the clock and stuff like that. And then I think at one stage I had made a bad knot or something, and without wasting time, I went in to grab my other rod, and I was in fishing with it. And I think Roger was the same. He made a mess up, and I remember I'd landed 2 fish, and I went back in, and I just said to the controller, throw me down my other rod, because throw me back down to Venator, because I just couldn't deal with the other rod I had in my hand at the time. I was like, I don't mind wasting 2 or 3 minutes. Had the foam spools with or foam dispensers with the spare tippet set up, and I redone the rod and just got back out, and just confidence in the rod, and it was playing the fish better. It was wearing the fish out quicker, so I was able to net the fish better with the tippet protection and stuff like that. And it just played the fish so much better, and it made everything a lot easier. It felt more comfortable.
I can't wait to get out fishing with it. Like, I just can't wait.
I was saying there earlier on, I was speaking to you, like, it's so hard to explain it. And whatever about the grayling fishing, I can't wait for trout fishing to come along and start bashing trout, like, and like we did in the fish kind, trying to fish for an hour. We're just going to slay them. So it's
awesome. That's brilliant. Delighted it's working. That's our first shot at it. Like, it was a bit of a shot in the dark. So Imagine what's going to be like when we refine it a little bit and make those little adjustments we want to make to it. Like, it'll be a savage piece of kit.
Like I was saying, the tip protection, the recovery of it, the sensitivity of it, like you can absolutely feel everything. Like we were bouncing three big bugs. Like we were fishing 3 nymphs and just bouncing 3 bugs off the bottom, and you could feel literally everything. Like, and and the backbone, like to throw those big flies and stuff as well, and even cast them a long distance. You just feel everything in the rod, like, so it was just right down to the handle, and even the handle, like the extra tin cork makes the sensitivity even better again, like, so everything from head to toe was just great. Like, obviously we have a few little cosmetic things to do to it,
a few little cosmetic things just to get exactly the way we want.
A few little finicky things, but it's in terms of the action and playing the rod, you wouldn't even know you have it in your hand. It's just sometimes you just have to look back down your hand and realize, oh geez, I have the Piscari rod in my hand. Like, you don't have a single or some other rod. Like, it just stands out so well. Like, so, and even Roger went into we were going into the last session because I was controlling, and Roger and Darius fishing together. So, and Roger's just asking, could he fish the 2 rods instead of just one? And I think he broke down his graze rod or his Hackle rod and threw it back into the boot of the car, and was delighted to fish the 2 Piscari rods. Like, so,
awesome.
along with one of his other rods for the bung setup. Like, so. But it was a great day with them. Like, so they got plenty of action in the abandon. So
that's good. That's what we sent them over for, to get a bit of a. Yeah. So what's the plan now for the evening? What's the team tactics?
I think the boys are in the bar waiting for me to meet them, and we're going to go get some burgers. And there's a burger joint up the road here, I think, some burger restaurants. So
which one?
Get that, and we'll have maybe a few pints and stuff, and meet some of the other
Irish band there. There'll be band in the bar and all tonight, isn't there?
Yeah, there's 3 female Welsh women singing or something tonight. So
Jesus, I'll be on. He's a bit of cracks. Saturday night in the Hackle Festival is always a good night, everyone.
And then in the morning then as well, like, we're not fishing too early either, like, so it's
that's it.
First session until 10:30, so we can have a bit of a lie on. This morning we were up at 5:45 or something, or 6 o'clock, I think, just getting the rest of the gear ready, and down at breakfast early, and we were the first car leaving the car park this morning at I think 7:10. So it was hardy now this morning. It was -8 here this morning, but like it didn't feel as cold today though as it did yesterday. But with 30 minutes to go in the last session, it was like the dam up in Bala had opened up a bit and let a bit of flush down for the kayakers. It didn't turn the water dirty, but that cold flush that comes down, and the greyling just turned off. I think Roger got the last fish, even though I had to go net it for him because some issue with the net, had got caught in his back or something, and but ran over net for him, and we got it in. But nice bit of teamwork. But other than that, like, we'd fished hard for half an hour after that and didn't eat anything. So, but the 2s were shaking in the river. Like, we were lovely and warm, and even though it was cold, we were lovely and warm going in there with the fish and stuff like that. And even though we were still nymphing away, next thing, just our legs went numb. We knew the flush had come down the river, so the 2s were shaking in the river, and even our breaths was starting to get all that mist out of your mouth when you're breathing, the heavy breathing and stuff. It was crazy. So it was. So we had a couple of guys in the bank watching stuff, and they just didn't understand why we were getting so cold, like, so. But I knew from experience, and as you know, they all let a little bit of cold flush out with a bit of dam now and again, like, so. And they were doing it during the week.
It's Baltic when they do it, like, it is.
And it can affect the greyling big time. They just go down, they just shut their mouths and stop feeding until things warm up again, like those extra couple of degrees in the water temperature, like, so. Look, we made the best of it, and we got 20 fish, and we were up there, and unfortunately,
and even you're after
second session, so.
Like, so you're still not out of the hunt. A lot to play for on a Sunday in the Hackle.
I will put we'll go and relax and have a bit of grub and a few drinks, and we'll get back, and we've most of our gear ready.
We're enjoying the crack with the boys and stuff as well.
We had great crack with her today. We were joking, and sometimes we were having too much crack. We had to tell her says to cop on a bit, especially me and Roger, anyway, we were fishing together. So, but it was, it's all part of it, like, so. We'll put our heads in tomorrow, and we'll make the best of it, and sure, whatever it is, and we had a bit of teamwork and stuff, so it's good crack, like, so.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, well, look, go on and enjoy the evening with your team, and we'll check in tomorrow evening at some stage. Maybe what time is your ferry at tomorrow?
8:30 tomorrow evening, I think. So not back in Dublin until 11:30 tomorrow night. So
maybe when you're on the ferry, you might get a rundown.
Before it departs, I might be able to. We'll have a check-in, sure.
Yeah. Super. All right, tight lines for tomorrow, buddy.
Perfect. Thanks, Mel.
All right, enjoy your evening. Hi to the boys.
Yeah.
So that was Mark giving us a bit of a lowdown on how the last 2 days, or kind of how their first day of competition went today. They got one more session tomorrow, so they're not out of it. They're certainly not out of it. The second session kind of let them down a little bit. But it's tough fishing over there, Declan O'Sullivan. Yeah, it is hard to deal with the cold. I've been there for the last 10 years, and there's been some really cold sessions out there, I tell you, where you're absolutely rattling in the river with cold, but you keep going. You know, it's an intriguing competition. It's always a good competition to be at. Still questions coming in there. Answers coming in for Dave there. So I was just reading back through some of the answers there, and certainly is some inventive answers coming there, but I don't think it's the answer. I have a feeling I'm going to be sending out more than one prize this week again. We sent out 2 last week. I feel I'm going to be sending out more than one again this week. But look, if it is, it is. We're sending out our new Dry X powder range. It's going to be on the website tomorrow, so make sure you stock up well for the new season. And our new Dry X gel, really good formula. Love this stuff. Been tested there last season. Answers coming up. Don't kill me, he says. Dave says, don't kill him. The answer's coming, folks. If there is I have a feeling this is going to be Connacht 22, Leinster 19. Well done, Connacht. But this is a gel. It's very like Dry Magic, very thick like Dry Magic, and it's brilliant stuff. So that's going out for a prize today for a quiz. But I feel I'm going to be sending more than one. By the way, a little bit of a substitute that I've used in the past for Purcell Silk is this stuff. It's DMC. It's a wool. It's a kind of a yarn DMC to it. You can get it in some sewing shops. And what I come on, Ricky. Well done, Newcastle. Newcastle are winning there as well. What I do is I break it down. As you can see it's stranded, and again I break it down to a single strand, and what I'll even do is I'll unwind that strand a little bit, and then that kind of helps to flatten it out a bit. That helps to flatten it out a bit, and it's not bad. It comes in a few nice colour ranges. There is no real substitute to Purcell Silk. It is a fantastic material, but it's not bad. It's not bad stuff. I've used it before, and it can be okay. Now we're going to move on to slip wings. Okay, these can be a little bit tedious at times, and you know they're beautiful when a split wing is done. When a split wing is done right, it can be super. You know, it can be super. Dave. If he lifts the other leg. If he lifts the other one, he would fall down. Why does the grey heron stand on one leg? Dave's answer is, if he lifts the other one, he would fall down. That's... someone says, send Dave the prize this week. I might do, I might do. You flapping. Yeah, very good, very good. Dave caught us all out this week for sure. I wasn't expecting that. He told me he had a very tricky question after last week to keep us all going. And good man, Dave. Good man. Very, very funny. You'd fall down if you very good. All right, I'll try and concentrate now for a few minutes and move on to this slip wing. Very funny. So we're going to add in a little bit of tie-in thread here. Again, I'm on a size 14 301. And what I'm adding in here is some Simpler Fly Classic Waxed Primrose. Okay, this is Primrose. Come on, Dave. Come on, Dave. Yeah, fair play now. Fair play, Dave. He comes on every week, in fairness to him, guys, since day one, and he asks the quizzes and he researches them during the week and stuff like that. And in fairness, now he is a bit of crack. So... you can use starling wings for this if you want to really have an awful time tying a fly. Starling is not great. If you want starling, unfortunately you're going to have to get it yourself. Very hard to buy good starling these days, and you need to be collecting the feather at a certain time of year. It need to be collecting them at a certain time of year when the feather's at strongest, okay, at its best colour. But what I use is duck absolutely, Aidan. Yeah, Thomas, I know. FFS. So I use duck quills, okay? So we got some duck quills here. Now, one of the things about tying this fly correctly is proportions, okay? A lot of people get caught on proportions. Thomas missed half the show Googling, alright? So, and one of the biggest problem with proportions is getting both the wings the same size. Okay, I've had that problem myself in the past. And what I do now is I use a tool like this. So it's a pin nose pliers. Really thin, and as you can see I have elastic band wrapped around it, okay? And the measurement there between the 2 points is the exact size of That's it, Ricky. Yeah. Tess Moylan's on there, Dave. Yeah, she's having a giggle at that one too. But you can see the distance, the measurement I have there. So what I do is when my wing slip now, I have it there. And what I'll do is I'll push this through near the stem. And it gives me my measurement. So there's one side. The measurement for one side exactly. And when I do the opposite feather, it's going to give me the exact same measurement on both sides. So both my wing slips are going to be the exact same size. It's quite difficult to do it any other way. By just guesswork when you're trying to pull out one little piece of so once I've cut one away, cut down near the stem, and there I've got one little piece of wing slip there now, perfectly measured out, exactly the size I want. Obviously I moved the elastic band up or down the pliers. I moved the elastic band up and down the pliers in order to widen that or narrow the gap. So here's my other wing, my opposing feather, and I'm going to do the exact same. I just stick it in there and pull it away. I know I got my two perfect sizes. Snip it away again from this. There will be a prize going out this week. How you doing, Tim Williams? I hope you're well, Kenneth. I will be sending out a prize. I'll go back over the questions and I might give for the best attempt of an answer. There was a few answers there that while Mark was actually talking, I was tittering away to myself there, looking back at some of the answers. But very good quiz tonight. Good man, Dave. He's heard me talk as well to Mark about the rod. So we've actually gone and designed our own fly, an infant rod, a piscarifly Venator it's called. Venator is the Latin name for hunter. And piscari is the Latin name for fish. So the rod is called piscari Venator, fish hunter. It's a 10'6" weight, 2-weight rod. We've been onto the manufacturers designing it there for the last while. They sent us our first samples. The first samples went to Wales to be tested. And the boys are super impressed with it. So that'll be coming on the market in the new season, hopefully. And it's got to go back. We got some work we want to do on it and stuff like that. Make a few little changes cosmetically and a few other things to really get it exactly what we want. But that should be on the market next year. Really, really super excited about that. It's been a project that's been in the pipeline for a while, and delighted to be actually, really excited to see. So all I do is I line up my tips now with my wing slips. Excuse me. Make sure they're both the same length, and we're going to mount them in over. So the length of these really, they kind of want to be around the length of the body. Okay, the length of my body. So I'll hold them in, move my finger and thumb in until I get them into position. You're going to tie them back a bit from the eye as well. Okay, it's very important to get them on top, pinch quite tightly. Get them on top, pinch quite tightly, and pull down. Caught my finger down the last second. My skin is a little bit rough on my finger, and it caught, so I'll just do that again. Get them in on top, and there we go. Perfect. Get them on top, and then bring your thread. Never bring your thread up towards the eye of the hook once you've tied in the wing. Okay, always bring it down the hook. Okay, down onto the waist. Same if you're doing a wet fly wing and you're tying it in. Always make sure you bring it towards the eye rather than down towards the body. Okay. What we're going to do is get in there then and trim away that waist. Perhaps could have been a little bit higher. Perhaps. What I'm going to do is come on down now anyway. And I'm going to tie in a little bit of Greenwell's cock. Hackle here for a tail. And tie that in. Try not to upset the feathers when you're getting in around here. And trim away your waist. Now the rib on this is going to be a very fine little copper wire. Thanks, Kenneth. Hey Peter Wadden, hope you're keeping well. Price point on John Johnson, is that the rod, is it? And I'm tying a bit of copper wire there as well. Okay, now before we start forming the body, what I want to do here is I got a little bit of cobbler's wax, and we're going to heat that up there. I'm going to heat that up there between my hands. They are, Kevin, absolutely. When you're tying split wings on a dry fly, they're always tied in forward. Absolutely, always. Okay. So, heating that up between my palm and my hands, getting a little bit softer on the outer edge. And now I'm going to put a bit of cobbler's wax onto that primrose thread. And this is one of the original tying dressings for a Greenwell's body. It's the primrose thread with cobbler's wax. It's absolutely fantastic. We have cobbler's wax in the shop there by Semperfly. And we have the thread as well if anybody's looking for any of it. And you just give that a coating. And it'll turn it a nice kind of olive. Coat plenty of it so you have enough to form your body. But then I kind of wind back in my thread a bit. And just get down there to where I want the body to start. And then as soon as the cobbler wax start coming on it, I start winding it up the body. Trying to get as even as I can. It's kind of hard here in the light, the way I have the light. You don't need to go all the way up the wing, but there's fine. Okay, now what I'll do with that again, you remember what we did, opposite feathers, Garrett, yeah, opposite sides, so a left and a right. A left and a right, Garrett, has to be a left and a right so they display apart when we get them ready to go. Okay, so remember what I did there before? I have this little turned section of metal here on my whip finish tool, and again I'm going to give that little polish. For one, it gets rid of the excess, and secondly it gives it an amazing little shine and really gets the body to really look absolutely fantastic of that dry fly. So giving it a little rub all around, make sure you get it all the way around, and I can see that shine starting to really come up on that there now. Really nice body. What I'll do then is take my wire rib and give it a little ribbon. This really is a beautiful fly, and it's a beautiful flight fish. Very, very effective. It's more sort of old school. Like, can you see the dries we tied last week in comparison to so cobbler's wax, Neil, is very dark brown. Yeah, John, that's it. It's a very dark brown wax, as you can see. That's cobbler's wax there, which is, it's almost like a black wax, and then that's the natural wax there. So you can see the difference between the two. The cobbler's wax will change the colour of your yeah, Kenneth, a Greenwell's Glory. It is. It's pretty much based on a Greenwell's Glory. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. For our main hackle here now, I have this is off a grizzle variant, as you can see, a grizzle variant hackle. It's a very good Greenwell colour, and once I'm happy with the hackle size, I'll mount this in here then and set up my wings. That'll do good. Tying in my hackle, make sure it's going to be in the right position. Now what I do is I'll catch my wings and I'll slightly bring them forward, and I'll get a little wedge of thread in there to get them more upright, as you can see, securing them lovely into position. What you got to do then is get a needle now, and I'm going to split them. Absolutely, Glenn. Yeah. Oh, Charlie Nesbitt, right now at the moment, the Venator, I haven't a clue. I haven't a clue how much it's going to cost, even roughly, till we finish the build. The build is not finished. And then I'll get a final pricing from the company, and I'll know what it is. So it'll be probably after Christmas before I have a fair idea of what it's not going to be a high-end price rod. We're not going to do that. Everyone knows us here in piscarifly. We like to look after customers as best we can. It's not going to be a crazy price. It's going to be a serious rod, but it's not going to be. So I just get my needle and I just get them apart for the moment, and just helps me get that figure of 8 in between them. So gently. This is where it can get a little bit tedious. You have to really try not to over disturb them feathers, those swing slips, but at the same time I want to get that split, and there we have it. What I can do is I can just get another little Turn a thread in there. And make sure they're perfect. There we go. And we get our split now, as you can see. I'll turn that device a little bit. So you can see now we got our lovely split wing. You could, Aidan. Well, this is the material I would tie if I was tying a blue winged olive as well. It's thanks, Kenneth. It is it's duck quills. Okay, so they're just mallard quills. What I'll do now is I'll pull that forward and then start to wind my hackle. Touch and turns the whole way up. Once you get up tight to the wings, catch the wings, hold them back in place, and get a turn right in front of them as well. And because we have that figure of 8 there, in there internally in that they'll always come back to their right position and tie it up there to the eye of the hook. So you can see in comparison to some of the F-flies we were tying last week, if I was tying F-flies tonight, I would have 10 F-flies tied in the duration it took me to tie that fly. But you know what, in fly tying, yeah, and you know what, I'm going to be honest, say probably an F-fly would probably catch me more fish. Thanks, Thomas. You know, an F-fly is probably going to catch me more fish. But there is this isn't, you know, tying these style flies. I love tying them. I do love tying them when I'm not in a rush tying them and someone's not looking for 6 dozen in size 18. But I do love tying them. It's you know, it's the joys of fly tying is doing some of this more traditional wing and stuff. Of course, our materials, excuse me, nowadays aren't quite as good as they used to be. And it's getting harder and harder to get those real good materials. But there we have our split wing. Any of those kind of rogue barbs, you can just take them out. There's a couple, always going to be a couple there sticking out the back as you bring that hackle forward and stuff. But there we have a lovely slip wing, split slip wing, kind of a Greenwells, take on a Greenwells kind of. I wouldn't say it's an actual, yeah, look at it's not far off Greenwells. But I tell you now, in the springtime when the large dark olives are out and you're fishing that thing there, when you're, thanks Game and Gavin, thanks yeah, John, it's both actually. I'm gonna be on that rod. I was actually casting during the week with it out in the grass because I have no water to take it to yet. Thanks, Ricky. Yes, absolutely, Joseph. Well spotted. They can spin and twist tip it if not tied correctly. That's a huge point, and they can do that. Any hackled fly on a tapered leader, especially, will twist up and spin. So be careful of that. But there we go. There's we have it. That's the one I did earlier on. So all these flies are in the box there for anybody that's going to share the stream. You can see I got the wings a little bit taller on that one, and a little bit more prominent. That's the one I tied just before I came on. But all these flies are going to be in there for someone to win. There's a lovely little set of flies there now for someone that shares the stream. So if you haven't shared it already, be in to win, share the stream. But that's a lovely little fly. I do love tying them. When you get those wings right and take your time with them, and they're both exactly the same size, and tied in good and secure, you know, they look beautiful. They're a beautiful tie. I love tying iron blues that way as well. It's fantastic. Thanks, Michael. So we're going to move on to our last fly, and this is another one I was asked about as well. Hackle tips, tying in hackle tips. There was a guy on to me there during the week, and he was saying, geez, I'm having awful trouble tying in hackle tips. And he's thanks, Bernard. He's thanks, Stuart. Hackle tips anyway, and he was having problems with him trying to get him into position and place like that. So I said, look, we'll do, because a few other people after last week's Dry Fly show had asked about split wings and different things. So I said, we'll do a whole night. I know last year we did a technical night on wings, but while just getting the wings into place and getting them mounted correctly. But this, I said, this time we'll actually tie the full flies as well. So for the hackle tips, there's only one real fly you can tie when you're talking hackle tips. Thanks, Tess. When you're tying hackle tips is the Adams, you know, the Adams. Yeah, it is. And Neil, bronze mallard can be, I tell you a great tip I learned about bronze mallard a long time ago. Neil, steam the bronze mallard before you use it. Get a kettle, boil a kettle, and as the kettle is boiling, hold your bronze mallard over the steaming kettle. And I tell you, it makes it so much easier to work with. It's unbelievable what it does. It brings it back to its natural curvatures, and absolutely such a pleasure to work with after that. It marries together so well and everything after that. So I find bronze mallards fantastic, but if I steam it, it's a game changer for me. Before I do it, so I boil the kettle there, and I'd have 5 or 6 feathers. I'm tying 5 or 6 flies or whatever I'm tying, and I'll just steam and put them in a little tub, let them dry, and because it'll be a little bit moist after. But geez, when you're steaming it, watch the feather. The change of the feather is unbelievable in front of your eyes. So we're going to tie little Adams with the split wing, or with the wingtips, okay? And what we're going to do is we're going to start off by using a bit of black tying threads. It's the classic waxed again, and again we're on a size 14 here, okay? And just as before, we're going to start. We're going to start by adding in our tips, okay? So we got 2 grizzle tips here. And again, as before, if we're mounting any wing that's going to be at the vertical to the hook, you got to mount it forward, okay? You can't mount them back. If you mount them back, so we've got 2 grizzle tips here. I'm going to make sure they're both lined up perfectly, and they're both back to back as regards the they're facing each other, with the natural sides facing kind of the more stronger coloured stronger colours facing out either side, okay? Again, the length of our body. A little bit long there. I tried this one earlier on and I actually got it a little bit wrong as well. I was a bit short. Again, pinch, pull around and lock up. And you can see the way there's very little movement on that feather, on that particular one, when I locked up. If you pinch and pull down, you'll pull them over to the side, and they won't sit perfectly on top of the hook like they are there. They'll pull over to the side and they'll flip over, and that causes problems straight away, because then you're trying to correct that problem with figure of eights and manipulation and stuff like that, and it don't work. You got to pinch, go around and pull up, and that way the whole thing locks in together, and it gives you a much better much better placement than the initial placement. So once you get that initial placement exactly where it needs to be, well, that's half the battle. You're halfway there getting a good wing placement. Same on the if you're doing a wet fly hackle or wet fly wing coming back, or the dry fly wing, the one we did before previous, the slips, you know, getting that initial mount onto the hook in that position where it is right now, you're 70% of the way there, okay? Even further on than halfway, okay? So for the tail here, what I'm going to use is obviously it's a brown ginger furnace, should I say, barbs here off a feather, and I'm going to mix it with grizzle. A little bit of brown, a little bit of grizzle, and we're going to mix them. Hard to see here now without the lights, proper lights of fly tying. I'm not too bad there probably. Okay, we're going to tie them in as our tail. Might be a bit long. That's okay. Happy enough with those. No, Graham, I wouldn't say so, but you know, I have fished the Wicklow Killer as a dry fly. I have fished the Wicklow Killer as a dry fly, Graham, even as it's normally tied, and I just grease it up, and it fishes. I've fished it on lakes, but I wouldn't say there is I suppose, look, you can invent a dry fly for the Wicklow Killer. I'm not sure if many people know what the Wicklow Killer is. It's a fly you don't hear too many people talking about, but it's a fantastic fly, very similar along the lines of a Wickham's Fancy. Great fly in heavy water, and obviously a fly because the Wicklow Killer, myself and Graham, we would have fished it growing up a lot as a wet fly, a fantastic wet fly. A fantastic wet fly, but you don't see too many variations of it. I'm sure you can invent something pretty handy. Now, the body of the Adams is, of course, muskrat. A lot of people can use grey rabbit and stuff like that, even natural hare's ear, but the original tying and the best tying for it is your muskrat dubbing, okay? So we got a little bit of muskrat here. Of course, all these materials are available downstairs. You can get them all on www.piscarifly.com, or indeed call into us. I'm just going to dub on a bit of that nice and tight. And slide it up along the thread. Muskrat is a beautiful dubbing. Lovely soft dubbing. You want a nice taper on the body of this. Lovely soft dubbing. Absolutely a must for iron blues and blue duns. The muskrat. All I do is I'm just trimming out some of the barbs off that dubbing. It does have some kind of spiky barbs, and I don't like them sticking out too much on my dries. So you can take another little pinch of this. Mikey Foley's there, he could have done with the Wicklow Killer and last year's All Irelands. So once I trim out any of those barbs that I don't want, and we got a nice soft hackle. Now what we have is our two main hackles for tying our dry fly. We got a grizzle and a brown. You tie in the brown first. Yes, you tie in the brown first. Okay, so the brown goes in first. These are the saddle hackles. I tie in the brown first. And then I'll tie in the grizzle on top, because the grizzle goes up first. That's the only reason why. Make sure they're both well secured in. Bring your thread down. And now I'll catch my hackle tips. And again, there's going to be a few rogue barbs. As you can see, they're sticking out in different ways. That's okay. That's going to happen no matter what you do. And I get my two hackle tips standing vertical. So hook. Okay, I'm going to take away those rogue barbs out of that. I should have stripped the quill actually a bit better before I tied that in. That's the only reason why there's so many sticking out there now, but that's okay. That's going to happen. Trim them away. Try not to nick off your wings. Okay, and as I did before, I'm going to get in there and figure out those, get them into position. Get them lining up evenly. There's a couple of barbs in there I just can get rid of. So I made a mistake there. When I was tying in those hackle tips, I should have exposed the stalk of the feather and tied it into the stalk, stripped it back and cleaned them a bit. And that's why I was left with so many hackle tips there, or rogue barbs, but that's okay. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to bring up my grizzle. Taking your time, no rush here. Now the Adams does have quite a predominant hackle on it, okay? Holding those back there in place. So don't be afraid of a big hackle on this. As regards the size of it, it should take up 1/3 of the body size. So 2/3 body, 1/3 hackle up there. I'm just going to change the amount of that hook in the vise, just change it slightly. There we go. Thanks, Kenneth. And let's take our wear waist. Then we take our brown, and again I'll always pull it forward like so, and that stops your barbs from sticking too far out the back. And as you make your way up, just wiggle it. There's going to be a couple out the back, but it's going to help prevent it a little bit. Just wiggle your way up so we're not crushing or dislodging too many of the grizzles. One or two wraps there just to make sure that's going to stay in place. Snip away your waist. And then you're going to finish that nice tidy little spot there. Didn't leave myself a whole lot of room, so got it just about. A little bit of varnish needed on that one. Now in a second. Of course, just varnish all the flies. A little bit of lacquer here on this little needle. It's great because the little needle carries a droplet, and I can just get it right in there where that needs to be. And then if you want to clean your needle, you can just stick it through the eye of the hook and make sure it's nice and clean. And that's your Adams. That's your split wing. A little bit of tidying up on it underneath there because some of those barbs just got a little bit misplaced with the second wrapping of the yoke. But that's, I say, that's going to happen no matter what you try to do. And you can in and just clean them out with just a little bit, just a couple there, making sure I'm nice and clean. And there you go, there's your two split wings. They're going to stay nice in place. Bit better length on them this time. The ones I tied earlier on, I thought they were a bit short. Find it there, but not too bad either. There's the one that was tied earlier on. You can split. See your nice wings there now. Thanks, Kevin. Thanks, Martin. You can see the nice split wings, the wing tips there now, the way they split out across. And you know, that's kind of most of the split wings I would ever tie really, is those three. They're slow and they can be tedious, but I say getting the initial mount onto the hook first is probably one of the most important things of all. Getting yourself set up right. If you don't get that right straight from the start, you're fighting a losing battle trying to get those wing slips or the hackle tips to really sit well for you, and they got to be flat. Like you can see, you know, they're both dead flat on either side. They're not twisted or turned. And you know, it's really important, that initial mount to get. But there's a couple of nice tries for you. The guy that came after last week, because after doing the CDC week last week, a few people on asking questions about wing tip, about doing split wings and stuff like that. They were struggling. So I hope he's got enough out of tonight to get you. Thanks, Miles. I hope he's got enough out of. Thanks, Colin. I hope he's got enough out tonight to people that were looking for it. I can't remember everyone's names, but that were looking for that kind of stuff. If you have any further questions, of course, do by all means shoot me a question. As you know, I'm always glad to help out. And thanks, Michael. Thanks, Glenn. Thanks, Neil. Always glad to help out people tying, and I hate to see them struggle. Asking is the best way of getting the education. So I hope he's enjoyed it. Lots more to come, of course. You know, and the Piscari Club as well. More fly tying, live fly tying nights. We didn't get to do a live fly tying this week. I was a bit under pressure there in the shop and a few other things with the kids, so I didn't get to do an extra live fly tying show. But next week we will have another live fly tying show, and of course Mark will be on tomorrow night on the club. Do join in if you haven't joined, and really do, as always, appreciate everyone's support. And yep, we're there, folks. Another Saturday night over. Hard to believe we're creeping along there. Thanks, Declan. Thanks, Liam. Thanks, Bernard. Thanks, John. Thanks, Dennis. I hope everyone has a good enjoy the rest of your weekend. Enjoy tomorrow, and enjoy the week. I'll be back on live next Saturday night. Thanks, Tess. Thanks, Ricky. I'll be back on live next Saturday night, folks. Thanks, Jared. Colin. And I'll see you all then. In the meantime, if you need any fly fishing gear, or of course any advice for Christmas presents, give me a bell here in piscarifly, and I'll make sure and look after you. Or you can just send the waves along, and I'll make sure to get exactly what you want. Okay, so look, have a great weekend, everybody. Stay safe on the roads if they're frosty, and talk to you all next Saturday night. Good night, all.